Hi everyone, today we're going to look at if you're increasing fitness, why it's important that you also increase your muscle strength and or mobility. So I'm going to give you some demonstrations and kind of really show you what this looks like. This is something that in a written blog format is quite difficult to do without kind of diagrams and stuff, which are not that great. So essentially, if you're running quicker, so either running, your 10k pace now is becoming, say, your half marathon pace, or a 5k pace becoming 10k pace. You're not necessarily running quicker speeds, but you're certainly running those a lot more in training, and you're running those for longer during races. If that's happening, which hopefully it is for you, then your body's being put under a lot more stress. Now, that's not a bad thing. Your body loves stress. It loves that adaptive time as long as you're getting enough recovery. So what we're going to look at, though, is why that needs to happen, why you need to increase strength and mobility to allow that to continue and to do that without risking injury. So our fitness and our speed largely is a component of, yes, our mobility, yes, our strength, but obviously a lot of it is our cardiovascular fitness as well. We can't maintain a high heart rate for too long, or we can only maintain a certain heart rate which correlates to a certain speed based on heart rate, muscle strength, elasticity, technique, loads of other things. But one of the things you want to look at is this strength and mobility. Now, I'm a big advocate of strength training, as most of you know. So I'm going to look at this in a bit more depth with you and kind of show you why I'm such a big fan of it and why it's so important. We're going to focus particularly on the hips and hip extension during our running gait and show why this matters a lot. So we look at our hip function. One of the things we're running, we end up with hip extension. So ideally, we end up with the leg behind us as we're running forward. Now, we would be up in something like this sort of position, coming forward as we run. If this muscle is tight, then it's not going to work very well. We're going to end up not being able to get behind us very quickly, not very far. So what we're going to end up with is this really short, choppy kind of gait that you'll see people leaning over with, or just have a very high cadence, very high step rate, low shuffling movement, which over longer distance like the marathon can work, where a 5k and 10k will certainly limit you. So we're going to try and increase this amount of movement. Certainly if you're running quicker or running quicker for longer, this is going to be in this position more, either in terms of more frequency, and it's going to go to more force if running quicker. So we strengthen and lengthen. Now we want to work on both together, and I'll delve into that on another video. But in this position, we're relying on our muscle strength and our tendon strength in particular to be strong and able to slingshot this leg forward and pull it forward. So we get to this point of stretch, the muscle and tendon then goes through a stretch shortening cycle. So it stretches and then rapidly forces and contracts and pulls us forward into our next step. Now, we can make this a lot easier. So if you ever find your quads are dying and really tired at the top here in particular, then we probably want to work on that in your strength training in particular. But I say, if you're not working getting that quicker, but you're exposing it to more and more work through either more miles at that pace, or running at faster speeds, then this is going to increase in risk of injury if we don't strengthen it. Say my natural movement at current 10k paces is say here. Now, over the course of say 6 months, I start to get quicker and quicker, and naturally my leg now wants to come back to this position. So I'm running quicker speeds more than running those speeds for more time, although that will come in hand. So my leg is now moving to maybe 3 to 4 degrees more. It's doing that several thousand times every run I do, across several weeks, across several months. This suddenly, if I haven't strengthened it more, is at a greater risk of injury. So we really want to work on strengthening and lengthening that area. So really want to get ahead of the curve. If you're looking at a period, you're really going to rapidly build up your amount of volume at a certain pace. So say you're running 7-minute miles, and you're suddenly going to be running that for twice as many miles over the next few months, or you're building up to that. Strengthen these muscles. Now, this isn't just saying the hip flexors, these are just a more obvious visual example. We want to also strengthen our calves, our quads, our hip flexors, our glutes, our hamstrings, all of these other in your core muscles as well, the abdominal core muscles in particular as well, so that we're able to take and to control those forces. We look at it from another perspective. We've got our forward motion here. So we're coming through, we've got a bigger hip extension, which generally is going to correlate to a bigger rate of rotation, or certainly could do, if this strength isn't good enough. So we want to be able to control that rotation, control our loading force from our hip here as well. If these aren't stronger, taking more steps, they're going to be going more repetition, they're going to tire more and more through training. We're going to end up with a bigger drop. Now, obviously, I'm massively exaggerating this, but you can see what I mean. It's going to be taking a lot more work, and if it isn't strong enough, isn't mobile enough to take that force, it's going to get injured, and you're much more likely to have a problem with it. So if you're increasing your training, either volume or intensity, or you're just on a trajectory where you're getting quicker and quicker because the fitness is holding you back less and less, the next thing to focus on, aside from just running more, is get more strength work in. Very good specific strength work. Work with a physiotherapist, work with a sports massage therapist with a PT qualification or some sort of background in exercise prescription or exercise setting, certainly. A lot of us don't have that. I do, thankfully, for my background as a personal trainer, I can go into the strength work with you. But certainly get some help on specific strength training for your movement plans based on your running gait. One thing I would say, and this isn't a blanket statement necessarily, because there are ways of looking at this depending on person's qualifications and skill sets, but unless someone's looked at you running, it's really hard for them to really say you should have this strength exercise. It can be done. I'm not saying it can't be, but it's often quite hit and miss. I've seen a lot of people come to me and, someone has said their arms have fallen, they need to strengthen an area. But when you look at them running, actually, there's no issue there at all. It's actually the force is being put elsewhere because the body will control it from somewhere, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be where you'd think it would be. So without seeing you running, it's very hard to diagnose, for want of a better term, or to set exercises that are going to be correct. So if you're looking at these things, get some help. Get some help from someone who really knows their stuff and can give you some guidance on this. You can do the whole Google thing and check out some stuff on there. It's not probably going to do any harm, but it might not give you optimum results and it could still lead to risk of injury. So if you're running quicker, running more miles, increasing training volume or intensity or load from getting quicker, strengthen your muscles, really working this, get ahead of the curve before problems start to arise. See you soon.